I remember something I like about reading manga is you get like insight to the author's thoughts. This happens in like Dragon Ball, One Piece, Naruto, all of them. Mm-hmm. So in My Hero Academia, in the back of a lot of the manga chapters, you'll get like little insights to his thoughts. And so one of them, he shows the design of Shigaraki and all the hands on him. And he says that, you know, growing up, I'm going to sort of paraphrase this, I don't remember exactly, but he says, like, as you learn how to draw growing up, drawing hands is, like, the hardest part for a lot of people. People really have a hard time learning how to draw hands. And so he decided he was going to, like, make it, like, somewhat inspired by that, he made a character where, like, he had all of these hands all over him, because hands were the hardest thing to as a challenge. And then he was like, I think the design came out really cool, was really awesome, but sometimes, like, I dread my own idea, because, like, now I have to draw that fucking character all the time, and, like, drawing all those hands is not easy.
Yeah, that's true. And he eventually gets rid of them, right? Shigaraki only has, I think now in season 6 or whatever, or like at the end of season 5, he has like the one on his face. The rest of them got fucked over after he fought Redestro. But, okay, so we've done like a really dive into Marvel versus My Hero and like the differences and stuff like that, the mediums, all those things, the plot. And so My Hero I just believe Deku going from being a quirkless human being who is a fanatic of heroes into becoming a hero because the number one hero in the world saw him do something heroic. And I know I'm using this word a lot right here, but as I'm thinking and talking, there's like no other way around not using the word hero. As the number one hero sees him do something heroic, he tells him, and this is really inspiring, you know, that's not the only, having a quirk is not what makes you a hero. Like, that's not how it works. It's who you are. So you can be a hero. And then he eventually, to kind of speed through what happens in season 1, you know, he gives him a piece of his hair to ingest, which is really fucking weird. But that's how he transfers the quirk one for all to Deku. And when Deku first gets it, the main thing about like him in season 1 is that his quirk breaks his body parts when he uses it because his body is not as developed as All Might's was. And the quirk gets stronger as it's passed down. So every person who gets it, like every successor of that quirk, is just getting stronger and stronger and stronger. So Deku is theoretically going to be, like, not immediately, but he's going to be the strongest user of the quirk ever because it gets developed by everyone, and that's kind of the whole point of it. When he's using it, though, in the beginning, it has incredible drawbacks. Like, literally, the first time he uses it is against a big-ass machine in a training exercise. It's about to hurt Araraka, his like crush or whatever. It's about to hurt her, so he flies up in the air and does like a fucking Detroit Smash or whatever. I love the naming convention for all the attacks too. By the way, just being named after like
Texas Smash, Detroit Smash. Yeah,
it's really cool. Or like cities, I guess, because like Michigan. But yeah, so I like that he does all these like attacks with cities and states and that whole thing. But he uses it the first time, and his fucking arm is literally flailing, and it's the color purple. It's like flailing as he's falling to his death.
Dude, not just his arm, both his legs, right? Because he uses his power to jump fucking 50 feet in the air. So as he's falling, his legs are just like flopping in the fucking wind, and his one arm, awful.
So when you first are watching this anime, you don't really know how dark it is, because even though episode 1, they kind of show you All Might has this incredible wound, but he seems like a Looney Tune character. Yeah. So I didn't take it too seriously. But then when you see Deku actually get the power, and later on in season 1, he starts using the power and it starts literally breaking this, mind you, this is a kid. It's literally breaking his fucking limbs. And it's the way they looked, the color pink, purple that they draw them.
You can see it's all this internal bleeding. All the bones in there are fucking shattered.
So I was like, what the fuck is this? As I'm watching, I'm like, what is this? This is really kind of like, this is a little fucked. Like, why would you give this kid this ability that he can't handle, and it's destroying him? And then the kid also is such a hero at heart that he can't help it.
He's such a hero at heart that he, to his own detriment, always does the heroic thing. In that moment when Uraka, it was this test to get into the school UA, and all these different robots worth a certain amount of points, but then there was a giant robot that was worth 0 points. Nobody was supposed to kill it. You were supposed to run from it. There was nothing you could do about it. And so this giant robot was about to hurt Uraka, and everybody ran away, rightfully so. Beating it is near impossible, and then on top of that, you don't get any points anyway. Deku at this time didn't have any points. He's still a rookie. Everybody grew up with their powers. He just got his power, a couple months ago or a couple weeks ago. And instead of running away like everybody else, instead of going for the points like everybody else, going for what you need to do to win, he sees somebody that needs to be saved. And then he goes and takes on this giant robot that you're not supposed to fight to take it down with no regard, no care for his own life. Because then he's falling from 50 feet in the sky and he's used his power. His body's broken. Like, how is he going to survive this fall? And luckily, Uraka ends up saving him, but without...
It's really good.
Same thing as when he saved Bakugo. He doesn't think about the aftermath, what's going to happen to him. He just wants to save the person. He wants to save Bakugo. He wants to save Uraka. And then after he saves the person, like, whatever happens to me, be damned.
And that's consistent with his character. And it makes him such a complex character. On one hand, like I said, he is actually a really smart protagonist. And I mean that, like, actual intelligence. Like, Shikamaru is really intelligent, and so many other anime protagonists, Light and Kogias as Lelouch. Like, there's all these geniuses. Midoriya is pretty fucking smart. When he does this little thing, it's kind of funny when he does it. He goes mutter, 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 mutter. And he's always thinking about plans, and he comes up with a really good idea. But I like the fact they actually show him having to think about it first.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't get to see anime protagonists think before they do something. They just kind of do it, and then it's a big reveal what they were planning. And then it's like, oh shit, that actually worked out, or it didn't work out. I like that Deku genuinely thinks, but he thinks really quickly. And I honestly would put him in a class, like, he's pretty fucking intelligent.
He's very intelligent. And I like...
very, very smart.
That not only we get to see him think, we get to see him write in his notebook and do all these little things. And all of that kind of put together. Here's something... I remember when you first... Or, I don't know, I'm not going to say when you first got into My Hero Academia, because I don't know when that was. But when you and me first talked about My Hero together, is what I should say. Yeah. I was so happy to find out that you liked Deku. Because I know you, as in general, the kind of characters you like, and, like, overall, Frasier's like, he can be callous, right? Frasier can be callous. And, and here's the thing, and this is something I just didn't understand, so many people, one of their complaints at My Hero Academia, they say Deku is a crybaby. They say he's a crybaby, and that, they hate Deku, and he's so annoying, and all these other things. And what's so frustrating to me is because I don't understand. First of all, like we said earlier, could you imagine being born into the world where 80% of the people have powers and you fucking don't? That's first of all.
Too,
yeah, you would be a crybaby. But that's second of all, he's not a crybaby about it. He goes and he studies and he learns and does everything he can to try to push forward and do things against the odds and get into... Could you imagine, most of us as people, we know that we weren't going to get into Yale. We know we weren't going to get into Harvard. Right. And superpowers don't exist. He didn't have superpowers in the world. Superpowers exist, and he said, no, I'm going to get into Yale. I'm going to get into Harvard. I don't fucking care. And he studied and to get there. And yeah, he had setbacks, and yeah, he cried about her. Yeah, he had these anxious anxiety moments, but he pushed through all that and kept going forward. And
those things are very human too. Like, they make a person real and believable.
Yeah, it's just weird. And for all that he's a crybaby, which I don't agree with, he fights past all what I don't remember who said it. It's like an old cliche quote, but bravery isn't just blindly doing something because you're not scared. Bravery is doing something despite being scared. Despite him being scared or despite something being a danger to him, he goes forward and does it anyway, because that's what bravery is. Bravery isn't the fact that you're not scared of anything. It's that you are scared, but you do it anyway and overcome it anyway. And so, anyway, when you said...
every day.
Yeah, right? I remember when you and me first talked about it and you talked about how much you like Deku, I was so hype and excited because I had gotten so used to so many people.
I actually remember this.
Dude, I got so used to so many people just not hating Deku and saying My Hero's bad because of Deku, and I don't feel like we're watching the same show. I don't know what they saw.
I don't know what people want in their anime protagonists these days, but Deku is one of the best to me. Period. Deku is literally one of the best protagonists to me. I think that his personality is very relatable to me. Like somebody who's very book smart. Deku is a book smart and he's hardworking. So he's pretty genius level, but it's not that kind of unbelievable genius level where he just immediately knows exactly what to do and they don't really need to even show him thinking about it. He's just kind of I'm playing 4D chess from the beginning. And I don't have to explain why I know what I know. I just know everything, right? He's not like that. You understand that Deku was smart because he actually puts in hard work and studies, and he's also quick with it too. He just his brain naturally is pretty fast, which is believable. The whole crybaby thing, like you said, I don't really agree with that either. I think that's kind of a cop out to just hate on the character. I think the anime does a fantastic job of making him a believable character, especially considering being born in a world where 80%. So out of every 5 people, 4 of those motherfuckers have quirks, and here your black ass is with no quirk. Like, I would be pissed.
Dog.
I would be depressed.
Anything.
Oh my god, I would be.
Can you give me anything?
Dude,
let me have big ears. Give me something. Like,
bro, I would be so depressed without a quirk. Like, it's always one thing to not have a quirk, and then it's another thing if you get a quirk and it's shitty, like big ears.
Yeah.
Y'all fucking suck, but it's still like better than not having a quirk at all. I always say everybody needs someone to shit on. This is a sad truth about human beings. So, like, at the top of the totem pole, you have like white men, and then every other demographic of person is below that, and everyone shits on who's below them. If I had a quirk, even if my quirk was terrible, at least I get to shit on the people who are quirkless.
Like, I remember
at the very least,
when they show them as kids, one of like their friends is like a guy with long fingers, and like the guy with long fingers is like talking shit on Deku. It's like, dog, you're just a guy with long fingers. Like,
yeah, like you got G too, fucker. But it's like, nah, you got some kind of a quirk, and it'll develop, and who knows what it'll become, right?
Yeah.
But yes, it's really, I understand every time that he's ever cried about anything, I totally understand it, because I think that's a real child reaction to loving something so much, but not being able to partake in it. It's kind of like, so I was born with asthma, and it is fucking debilitating. I wasn't able to play sports. I actually cried, not many times, because I quickly got over my want to play sports when I was a kid. But when I was younger, all the kids on my street would play like football and stuff like that. And or just like play catch.
And you were left out.
A very normal thing to do as kids is like play catch with a football, dribble a basketball, stuff like that, run up and down the street, play all these games where like running is required. And I literally wasn't allowed to do it, because when I did, I would start wheezing, and my asthma was really bad. So I would start wheezing, and then I would have an asthma attack. Then I have to take an inhaler. I'd have to sit on the steps. My dad would be like, drink some water, take your inhaler. All the other kids are still running up and down, looking at me, coming to check on me. It's fucking humiliating.
Yep.
And it makes you feel like you're, like Kenny said, left out. And so eventually that led to me hating sports. Like, I do not like sports. I never really partook in them because I wasn't allowed to actually play them, even though I had a desire to as a kid. My sickness took that away from me. And so in a way, it's like Deku, he genuinely wants to be involved in something, but he can't. And it could easily go the other way. Like, there could be an opposite version of Deku, that Shigaraki could have been a quirkless person who got all for one's quirk, but he hated heroes because he just was born without a quirk. Like that would have actually been a great thing, even though it's kind of like the odds. That's so cliche. In a way, it's kind of cliche. Like, y'all both happen to not have a quirk. Y'all both end up having a quirk now. Hey guys, if you like this clip, we have full video versions of our podcast episodes available on the I Am Nerd Patreon, as well as exclusive content.
If you'd like to listen to our full podcast episodes or find us on any other social media platforms, you can do so by clicking the link tree below.